All right. You ready?
Yeah,
I'm Austin Lugo.
I'm Andrew Hart.
This is With Nothing to Say.
Let's talk about Eastern Condors.
Before we get into this week's film, next week we're going to be watching Nothing But a Man. I remember you talking about the plot against Harry a while back. We talked about it on the after show a bit. I remember you talking about the Coen Brothers-esque, uh, I guess, filmmaking techniques of it, which kind of brought me interest to it. And then when I saw that there's a collection
hmm
on Criterion about it, reignited that interest. I've always wanted to
hmm
see some of these films, so I feel like for me this will be an excuse not only to watch Nothing But a Man, but hopefully at the very least plug in some Harry and maybe a couple of his other works too.
Yeah, I've heard Vengeance is Mine is also pretty good.
Okay,
He didn't make very many movies.
no, that's that. Let's do that. So I'm excited to see what he's got
Yep.
going for him. But this week we watched Eastern Condor, an action kung fu, just all around absolutely great time. There's the very first thing that I thought of was uh, that scene towards the middle end of the movie where the kids have the gun and they're playing
They're playing Russian roulette.
Russian
That's a
roulette,
fucking that's a kid. That's an amazing scene.
which
They
they're
blow.
so
They're blown. Yeah, they're like blown. They're playing Russian roulette now with themselves, but with prisoners.
yes,
So they're like, and they're
and
like,
people are
and they're
betting on it.
they're betting on whether or not like they're gonna blow this like prisoner's brains out or not.
And then the very first thing I thought of was there is a spoof of this at the very end of an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. And it's amazing how many spoofs there are of this film in particular and how much this film inspired, particularly like American kung fu, I guess. And
What's
just
the It's Always Sunny spoof?
so it's at the very end of an episode. It's um, fuck, what's the Danny DeVito at the end
hmm
of one of the episodes? He's down in the basement and he started like some sort of I think it starts just like as a gambling ring in the basement and they all walk downstairs and they're playing Russian roulette. And so it's basically just a recreation of that exact scene where they're
Where
playing
they're like
Russian
betting
roulette.
on like
And
whether or
then
not they're gonna kill a guy, but
yeah,
not
yeah.
themselves.
And then
Okay.
they cut to black because they hear a shot and it cuts to black and that's the end of the episode.
Okay.
It's like in the third or fourth season. It's pretty early on. But I mean, just this film in general, like you watch and you're like, oh yeah, like this is a very familiar thing. Like I've seen in other stuff where this is a very
Mhm.
familiar thing. And of course, this sort of predates a lot of the stuff that I've seen because for myself, really the only, I guess, kung fu-ish movie I've seen are the work of Jackie Chan, and only a few of those, like Police Story and Police Story 2. And
And Sammo Hung, of course, like worked with Jackie Chan and stuff like that.
right,
Like Sammo Hung, like, you know,
they went to the same like fight school or like martial arts
they
sort of
all
thing,
just
what I
yeah,
understand.
I mean, like they all kind of like worked like in the film industry around the same
Mhm.
time and stuff like that. And I think like once Jackie Chan even became famous, like and making his own movies, right? I think Sammo Hung like would be like a fight choreographer, would choreograph like his fights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he used to be like a stuntman, fight choreographer, Sammo Hung, and then he became an actor, and then he became, like a filmmaker.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's kind of like yeah, and I think he continued to be like a fight choreographer into the future for various people. Um, and he kind of had like his troupe, right, of like performers of
Right.
people, and that included Jackie Chan, I think.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, and yeah, but I've never seen any Sammo Hung movies before.
Oh, so this is your first one?
Yeah, I never had seen him before. I get the idea.
Yeah.
They have like a nice little interview in the Criterion collection where they interview him for like a minute, like
Hmm.
about his life and career and stuff, and he seems like a really cool guy. He's like a bigger set guy.
Yeah.
But he, despite that, he's probably like 100 times more athletic than I am, you know,
You would not
and
expect
most
it. Like,
people.
that's what's so interesting about him is he doesn't look because like Jackie Chan, right? Especially, something early on like Police Story, he's like
He's
incredibly
ripped.
ripped, right? Very muscular, very ripped. Like what you would expect a typical
Hmm.
kung fu master, someone who's, incredible stunt choreography. But this guy, he's a bigger guy, and when you see him do the stuff he does, right? When he's jumping around and he's doing all these like crazy moves, it's almost in some way more impressive because you wouldn't expect someone who looks like him to do those kind of things. So every th time he does something like that, it's all the more amazing because he's just carrying around more weight, right? He's just a bigger guy, and yet he can do like these incredibly athletic things. I mean, he's 100 times more athletic than you and I are, and so I'm
Definitely.
just so impressed by it. And in this movie,
Hmm.
I mean, right from the get-go, you get this great stunt where the Americans are
Yeah,
trying
he
to
goes up
raise.
the. It's a funny movie too. Like the movie is really funny.
Very funny. It's a very funny movie. And basically, the plot of the film is the Americans are going to Vietnam post Vietnam
Yeah,
to to destroy a weapons base because they don't want the Vietnamese to get to it.
yeah,
Is
that's
that
it. Like
right?
the
Yeah.
they don't want they don't want the Viet Cong to get a hold of like like these like weapons that they left behind. So they're getting some like I guess like right because the Chinese like right fought with the
Hmm.
Vietnamese right against the Americans,
Yeah.
and so they have all these like Chinese prisoners I guess, and they're like we'll give you money and we'll let you live here if you go to Vietnam and blow it up.
$200,000 each.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they have that great stunt right at the beginning where they're trying to get the flag up the pole, and and he just, I mean, just with so much ease, just climbs all the way up the pole, gets to the top, pulls the flag at the
Yeah,
top, and just slides down like it's the easiest
some
thing in the world.
it's so cool.
It's so cool. I think that's what I love so much about these types of movies. I mean, I love like American action films, but like Mission Impossible or what have you. But like when say Tom Cruise is doing a stunt, it looks very hard, right? It's a very difficult thing, and it looks crazy.
I
It's
don't.
hard to do.
He doesn't really do stuff like that though.
But he doesn't
You
do stuff
know.
like that. But that's what I'm saying.
No, he
Like
doesn't.
in
No, I
stunts like
know.
these, in films like
Yeah.
these, not only are they doing incredibly impressive stuff, but they're doing it in a way that makes it look really easy, right? Like it just
Hmm.
looks flawless, as if this is just the easiest thing in the world every time they do one
Hmm.
of these stunts. And maybe to some people, like it makes it not feel as impressive because like they just have this like flat look on their face, or they're just doing it with such ease. But to me,
Yeah.
that's all more impressive, right? Because they're not even breaking a sweat here. They're just like, I'm just gonna
Hmm.
fucking do it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like the big reason to watch these movies is because like they just have like amazing fight choreography and stunts. Like, you know, and this one obviously puts it up, kicks it up a notch. You know, there's a lot of shooting in it. There's a lot of explosions, shooting, explosions. It kind of reminded me, of course, of like I'm forgetting the guy's name, but the Hong Kong director who directed the second Mission Impossible movie,
John Woo.
um, John Woo. Yeah, it reminds me of a John Woo movie a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe even more emphasis though on the fight choreography itself, which is very good. It's
Mm.
always a pleasure to watch. Like it always is. Like it's always incredibly fun. Obviously, there's like some stuff going on, like a wire work,
Hmm.
right? Because sometimes
Yeah.
somebody will jump and they jump a little bit too
Incredibly high.
high.
Just a
Yeah,
little too high.
yeah. But um, but besides like the wire work, like everything always seems so tactile, so
Yeah.
like not so real.
Hmm.
The guy that they meet, um, who's like selling like
Oh,
the
the
like illegal
bootlegger.
American goods, the
Yeah.
bootlegger guy. That guy's amazing. He kind of looks familiar. Everybody in the movie looks familiar. All these
Hmm.
guys are very active. Like I think like once you like kind of like start getting into Hong Kong action movies and stuff like that, like one guy looks familiar, another guy looks familiar.
Hmm.
I think Sammo Hung, he was in A Touch of Zen, like he's in those
Oh
movies,
shit, yeah.
So I think once you watch like these like 70s, 80s Hong Kong action movies, like they're all populated by kind of like the same people,
Hmm.
So which is fun because they're all really good. They're all really great actors. They're all really fun. They uh yeah, they're just like really really fun to watch. And yeah, this movie, yeah, and of course, like this movie too reminds me a lot of like other like horror, other action movies like Predator. Predator was a movie that kept on flickering in my mind.
Mm.
I don't know what came first though. Um, but
Was it-
like Predator's funny because there's not really a lot of crazy fight choreography in it. All the dudes are like extremely jacked,
Right.
and in Eastern Condors, everybody just looks kind of normal. Everyone looks completely normal.
So they came out the exact same year, 1987.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I wonder if there's
I guess
just
there's also Rambo. Also remind me of Rambo 2 because it's also Rambo 2 is also a movie where
Mhm.
Rambo has to go back to Vietnam. He has to like return to Vietnam
Right.
because he has to rescue some prisoners or whatever. So I was also reminded of that movie.
Hmm. Yeah. Definitely a lot of, I mean, I think it's also kind of that era. There's just a lot of movies kind of that time that were had
Yeah.
like similar things going on, and
Yeah,
then
I agree.
you know
Yeah.
it.
Like like kind of like like yeah, like kind of dealing with like kind of like the Vietnam War and its
Mhm.
effect and its reverberations, that were still felt up to that point.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and yeah, like the Chinese, I guess, have like an interesting perspective on it as well, I think.
Hmm.
Just because they kind of fought in the war, but it was like a proxy war.
Yeah.
So I imagine like a lot of Chinese people are very disenchanted with like China and Vietnam and communism and stuff like that. They meet those like group of women who are like Cambodian gorillas, right? And
Mm.
they're like anti-communist
Those they're
gorillas, like
awesome. They're
which are
so
yeah, they're
cool.
great. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, too bad everybody dies horribly. Everybody
Everybody
just like kind of
dies,
dies.
like
Well,
other than
honestly,
like
like
two people.
it's kind of interesting. Some people die. The way they kind of like deal with like characters dying is interesting because sometimes people will die in a very like sad, sort of like drawn out way.
Hmm.
Like there's the old man character
Yeah.
and the guy who has a cigarette in his mouth the whole movie.
Yeah.
Uh where that he was holding for a friend, right? And their death is really drawn out. They like talk for a while at like the
Hmm.
machine gun, and then they like cause an explosion or whatever. Or but then you have like that scene with but then you have like a couple other scenes with some other characters where they just get shot in the head and that's it. Like they just get shot in the head and that's it. Like the guy that's with him the whole time that's or anything like that. He just gets shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is there are a lot of characters at the beginning because they start
There's a
with
lot. There's like
what,
10
like
characters. There's like over 10
yeah,
characters, like
there's like
15 characters.
there's a ton of them, and of course they all have their each little quirk, so you can kind of remember each one, right? You
That's
have the
true.
guy who stutters, you have
Yeah, who dies
brothers, you have
immediately.
the
He
old
dies
man, the
immediately.
stutter.
You can
I
barely
love his
even like
death.
get used
His,
to him.
he might have the funniest of all the deaths.
He just like falls on top of a tree or something like that, right?
So yeah, so they all jump out of the plane. They said count to 20 before you release your
Hmm.
parachute because they need to release it low so they're not seen. And so right, they're looking for the guy who stutters and they're wandering around, right? They're
Hmm.
calling his name and they find him, right? And he's still kind of a little alive and he's stuttering
Hmm.
16 16 because he couldn't count
Oh,
to
I missed
20.
that detail. I missed that
Yeah.
detail. I didn't even get that detail. Oh,
That's why he
wow.
died, is because he was
Because he couldn't
stuttering.
get to 20. I don't think this is how it would work, right? Like,
I
like, but
That's
it's
how
fine. It's
stuttering
funny.
works.
I don't think that's how studying, right? But it's funny. Like, like the joke is like, I get like, yeah, I
You
missed
get
that.
the
I
joke.
don't, yeah. Damn, yeah, yeah, sometimes people just, yeah, like die like that or whatever. But then, yeah, again, like sometimes like people just die like very drawn out, very
Mhm.
heroic
Well, it's like
ways.
the brother's death, right? The when after he dies, he's the only one that they bury, and they
Oh, yeah.
bury him, and they kind of have that whole scene
They're
with
like yelling at each other.
like yelling at each other. And I think that's when they find out that right, one of the three women, yeah,
Spy.
that's when they find out that
And they
she's a
blow her
spy for the other
brains
side,
out.
and then they kill
That's
her.
yeah. That when
Another
they
great
like
moment.
she shoots her in the back of the head, and then the other lady gets like the blood splattered in her
Splatter
face.
all over her
Unbelievable.
face.
That is so great. Like this movie's like very violent.
Yeah.
Like there are people getting their hands chopped off, people getting their brains blown out, people exploding, getting machine gunned down, being stabbed, like stabbed in many different places. Like, it's just like it's a very violent movie. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I think one of the things you worry about when you watch action movie, because there are certainly a lot of action movies like this where you are like the action scenes are great, but you spend the rest of the film kind of just waiting for the action scenes to happen. You kind of spend like all the moments in between. You're like, all right, I'm ready for the next action scene. And you're kind of just, all right, just sitting there waiting, getting kind of bored.
Hmm.
And I don't think this is the case with this film. I mean, of
No.
course, those action scenes are the best part of the film, and they're the reason you watch it. But I
Yeah.
never found myself, and I think also there's just a lot of action scenes. Like there's very few moments
It's like
that
one after
are full
another.
of action. So there's very few slow moments. And even if there is a slow moment, it's almost immediately gonna pick up. But even in those moments, it still works really well. Like, for example, my favorite action sequence is when they're in the forest and it's only two people. It's Samwong and the bootlegger. And it's just
Hmm.
those two like taking down like 25 guys. And
Oh,
they just,
that's a
right? They
great
just pick them
scene.
off one
Yeah.
at a time.
And they don't use guns or whatever. They just kind of like use like little
No
tricks and
guns,
stuff.
just like
That's a
knives.
great scene.
And everyone they pick off, they do it in a different way too, right? It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
it's 20 against one and they all fight them one at a
Hmm.
time. Each
Yeah.
death is creative. And like the bootlegger, the way
Yeah.
he uses vines to like swing and catch
Hmm.
people, like it's just so cool. So like thought out
Yeah.
and interesting and like sometimes funny. Or when, which I'm pretty sure this wouldn't work, but when Sam Hwang kills like three people with basically a blade of grass, like he just rips.
He like gets like I think it's maybe like a piece of bamboo and he
Uh-huh.
fashions something to be able to like shoot it at somebody like and it like stabs him in the neck. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like
Badass is what it is.
yeah, it's very specific. Yeah, no, that's a great scene and that's a great scene too just because it's like like the filmmakers themselves had to like kind of like figure out what to do with that, right? Like it definitely doesn't come across as like lazy or uncreative. Like it's very creative
Yeah.
in how they try to like approach like each scene, right?
Mhm.
Or like I don't know, it does feel like every action scene is quite distinct from the next because
Yeah.
of like they're in different situations, right? Like when they get caught by the Viet Cong, they're like in that water prison, so they kind of have
Yeah.
to deal with like that, right? And then like yeah, like she's able to like do crazy like it's such an impressive
It's
movie.
so
Like I'm
cool.
impressed like all the time. I'm impressed like so much like the way that people are able to like do what they do in this
Hmm.
film. So yeah, that's another good example of like yeah, like the and that's like the Russian roulette scene as well. I think it happens around that
Yeah.
time, right? Like,
Yep.
and yeah, I think that's just like a crazy whole sequence because it's like there's just so much stuff going on in it. And it's just like yeah, and it just like puts so many like it puts so many other movies to shame because it just kind of like it. I don't think this movie like I don't know like I doubt this movie is even like a fraction of the cost of like movies are made today, right?
Yeah.
Like this movie was probably relatively cheap to make, and yet like ha- it's so eventful,
Hmm.
exciting, funny, interesting, impressive. Like it's just like it has everything like you would want in an action movie. And I just feel like yeah, like an action movie today is just kind of like it's always phoned in. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing like I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm completely agree. I mean, I was reading a article in, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter, and of course they're keeping coverage of Avengers Doomsday, which they're currently filming. And it was an interview with, I think, one of the actors in the original X-Men. He played the guy that shoots laser beams out of his eyes. I don't remember the
Yeah,
actor's name or the name of the character, but
Cyclops.
Cyclops. Thank you. And, he talked about like early on, he talked about how excited he was to kind of like replay this role again and kind of be back in this and something like, for him, like it's kind of like a role that brought him to a bunch of other roles and he's kind of excited to be back in this world. And then, and then they have an interview after like he filmed all of his scenes because his scenes are done. And he's like, it was the most isolating experience of my life. I pretty much filmed
Yeah,
everything by myself in a green room. Like
that's
I was
crazy,
just in
bro.
front of a
That's not
green screen the
surprising
whole
though.
time, which is, a sign of the quality that Avengers Doomsday is going to be. So I'm sure you're all very excited for it. But I mean, just the case that all of these action movies that are made, so many of them, I mean, of course, you have your exceptions, especially like the early John Wicks and stuff. But I think the reason part of like
Yeah.
John Wick is successful is because they have such a low budget,
They
right? The first John Wick is shot for
and they also rip off these movies. They like these like
100%.
Hong Kong movies, like which I'm glad. The Avengers movies, Marvel movies, whatever. Like I just feel like they're not coming from any kind of great
No.
reference point, you know. Uh, and yeah, the way they kind of like zip everything together is really annoying. And Eastern
Hmm.
Condors, everybody's around each other all the time,
Hmm.
like they're all like because they don't even have the ability anyway to do it. Like they don't have the ability. I guess they could like do like ADR or there are ways to also, I guess, like do footage or audio or
Hmm.
whatever after the fact. Um, but no, like they're all like they're hanging out, doing stunts together. They're all probably like while they're making it too, like working and talking together to figure out like what's the best like way to go about like different stunts and stuff like that,
Hmm.
right? They're all probably very like they're all collaborating probably with each other, thinking about like, okay, what will make the best shot, what will make the best stunt. Let's do this, let's do that. Um, but then it's like, yeah, like a movie today is just like, all right, show up on time, wait a while, we'll call you. All right, say the line, goodbye. It's like how I don't understand like how that's supposed to
That's art.
like yeah, that's art. And like Sammo Hung, like he made like these Avengers movies, what they make like one every like couple years now, which
Hmm.
is probably for some people, I mean, is probably too often. But Sammo Hung, like he made like a bunch of these movies. Like
Yeah.
he made like several in a year.
And I think that's exactly right. I think that's the reason these films are so successful is there's that it's very clear that these films are Samsung being in a situation where like, okay, we're going to create a series of problems, right? We're going to put ourselves
Yeah.
in a series of situations where we have to get out of. And the job of us as filmmakers and stunt coordinators and actors and athletes is to figure out how to get out of it. And so each way it feels interesting and it feels unique. It doesn't feel like every time, right? We just give them a gun and we just kind of shoot our way out of it. I mean, they do use guns in the film, but it's
Yeah.
amazing for a film about people invading
Hmm.
Vietnam, how little they actually use the guns and how much
They don't
is
use it too. Yeah.
hand-to-hand combat. And even when they do use guns, it's often in creative and interesting ways.
Yeah, it's not like a crutch. They don't. It's not a crutch. It's just kind of like a part of
Yeah.
the fabric of the story and the activities that are given to the characters. Um, um, in that interview video too, he kind of I don't know why, but like when I was watching the interview video of Samo on Criterion,
Hmm.
he's like an older. It's like he's old now. He's like in his 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
He kind of reminded me of like Clint Eastwood for a second, the way that Clint Eastwood kind of talks about movies, because it's like I couldn't help but like think of him because Sammo Hung was talking about like King Q, which is the Touch's End director, right?
Oh,
And he
okay.
talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how difficult it was to film with him, but how great it was too. And he's like, yeah, when you're like around like King Q or whatever, you gotta like take it all in. You have to like really kind of like look at to see like what he's doing,
Hmm.
like in terms of like how he's making the movie. And I feel like Clint Eastwood, he kind of did the same thing when he was working with who's the who's the guy who made all the spaghetti westerns?
Oh,
Uh
Sergio Leone.
yeah, like Sergio Leone
Yeah.
and the other guy. I'm having a bad time. I'm having a really bad time like remembering names. Who's the Dirty Harry guy?
Oh,
Uh
fucking uh
it's I'm
no,
fucking it
that's gonna
up.
bother me. I'm looking at
Near Don Siegel.
Don Siegel.
Don
Yeah.
Siegel. Yeah, right. And which Clint Eastwood talks about those two directors being very influential on him in terms of his own filmmaking.
Yeah.
And of course, I think it's fair to say that that rubbed off on him into his own movies. And the same thing probably applies with like Sammo Hung and working with King Hugh, which, touches in. That's like probably one of the best movies we watched for the show.
Yeah.
It's like the best like Hong Kong action movie. And Sam was in it anyway. Yeah, I don't know why I was kind of like reminded about that because yeah, like Sammo Hung is kind of like he's like a he also one thing about the video that I thought was in the interview that I thought was interesting is that like he like was like a part of like he was like a circus performer and he started when he was like 7 or something like that. Like he like joined like some like circus performance school when he was like 7 and then he like graduated when he was like 14, I think,
Sure.
which makes sense how good he is because he's so good. He's like he's basically like the Arnold of the movie in that he's like kind of like invincible
Yeah.
and he lives by the end of the movie. Like he never gets hurt ever. That's one thing.
Not
Everybody
even a
like
little
gets hurt
bit.
really bad.
Yeah.
Everyone gets hurt really bad. They either get really hurt bad or they die.
Hmm.
And Samo, he never gets hurt. He
Well, he's
might
the best.
he is the best. Yeah. He might be the most it's kind of funny. His character might be the most out of all of them, the most one-dimensional. Like
Yeah.
his character isn't very deep, but he's the most awesome. Like he's the most
Doesn't
invincible
matter.
and badass.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's like okay, like that's fine. Um but yeah, yeah, he does a lot of like amazing stunts in it. And again, like considering how he looks, he you wouldn't have guessed like he's just doing crazy stuff like all the time.
Yeah, it's impressive every time, and I love that. I love that bridge scene because it's this very clear. It's a very clear plan, right? Here's the things we
Mhm.
got to do. Here's right. We got to get across this bridge, and there's machine guns on both sides, and it's just
Mhm.
absolutely like there's no way it's gonna work, right? Like there's like a 0% chance, but it's kind of their Hail Mary.
Yeah.
and and a shit ton of people die in that scene. I feel like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the old man, the guy with the cigarette, and I feel like a couple other people get shot on the bridge too.
Maybe, yeah.
A lot of
Maybe.
people die in that scene, but when yeah, I'm trying to think who it is. Is it Sam Hung that he gets to the other side of the bridge? No, it's
Uh-huh.
who rides under the car? It's the bootlegger
And the lady.
and the woman, right? They ride under
Yeah.
the
Oh,
car
yeah. He jumps on top of it with the
with the
grenades.
grenades.
Like there are some stunts where I'm just like they're jumping off that really high like
Yeah,
ledge or whatever. Like
they're
they're jumping
100% doing
really
it.
high. They're
They're
100% like
doing it.
jumping off like a really high ledge. You
Like
know,
that
it's
is a
like
man jumping off way too
I
high of a
can't
place.
believe yeah, I'm just like that's crazy. And it is I think it is Samo too. Like you see and you're just like that's
Yeah,
Samo Hung. That's not a like
a stunt
a
guy.
body double. Yeah, like a
No,
stunt guy, a body double. It's like really
it's
Sammo
him.
Hung. Sammo talked about too about like body doubling in like various movies as well. Like
Yeah,
uh you know, for to
other
do
actors.
stunts or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
other actors, yeah. He's like done everything, I feel like.
yeah.
Um yeah, that one is great. Yeah, that one's really funny, right? When he comes down with the 2 grenades and he's like, I'm gonna let him go. What a great scene. And then he just lets him go anyway, right? And yeah, that scene's really good. And yeah, it's just like one like amazing scene after another. It's like kind of hard to like encapsulate how like impressive the film is and how much fun it is,
Hmm.
which is like this it's just kind of like like this is like to me like these Hong Kong movies are like what like if we watch these as a kid, like I'd be like obsessed with them. Like I would think they
Yeah.
were like the greatest things of all time. Like I would think that like I would want to watch these all the time because they're just like they're perfect. They're really not very sentimental either.
No.
American movies, I feel like they get into they kind of like wade into kind of like this like even like really like famous like
Hmm.
action movies that people love. They get very sentimental, which is
Yeah.
fine. I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. Like Predator gets pretty sentimental. Die Hard gets pretty sentimental. Like I'm just thinking of like some very famous American
Hmm.
action movies from around this time. I feel like Eastern Condors, it's not, I wouldn't say it's sentimental. There is some pathos going on, I think,
Hmm.
especially like when the movie ends. The movie, it's kind of funny because when the movie ends, it's like we're left with like 3 guys and like it's not like they're not happy or upset or sad. The movie just kind of ends and then it plays like a very like beautiful Chinese ballad.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't match the movie because I don't think the movie is like very like and the movie's like very cruel. Like the way that it
Yeah.
again, like some people just die. Like they just straight up get fucking shot in the face and then that's it. Like major
And that's it.
characters that we've been
Yeah.
with. So I like that though, that it's like very unsentimental. It still gets like emotional, like when somebody dies, like when the brother gets upset. That's a very
Yeah.
emotional. Honestly, like yeah, there were a few scenes too when somebody dies and they're upset and it's like, oh, that's like very sad. Like I was very touched by it.
Hmm.
Um, but I also think that the movie doesn't stray too hard on that, I think. To where it would like slow down the pace or slow down like maybe it's trying to maybe it's trying to like kill time so it doesn't have to like
Right.
move into the next action scene.
Hmm. No, I agree. And then of course the big MacGuffin of the piece is
Yeah.
they're go so they're going to this base to destroy it, and right before the leader uh, jumps out of the plane, they tell him, "Oh
Hmm.
yeah, the mission's been canceled."
Yeah, which is like ridiculous. Yeah, it's like that to me was just kind of like that
It's
to
like
me
a
is just
very
so
American thing to do, right?
yeah. Everybody has jumped out, right? And they're like and right, they're like waiting for like a plane or a helicopter at the end of
Hmm.
the movie, right? And it's like, well, the mission's been canceled. It's like, is it gonna come or
Is it
not?
gonna
But
come? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I like oh, what does he say at the end too? It's like death to America. I hate America. Goddamn America. Where you want to live after? America, of course. Yeah, and uh I like the scene too where they have to get the guy who is pretending to be crazy or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I like that scene too where he's like, "Oh, there's Americans here." And
And
then in
yeah,
my
they don't believe him at all.
yeah.
He like opens the cabinet door and he's like right there.
That's
I
a good
love
scene. I like that scene a lot. Yeah.
or the moment where they're it's like pouring down rain and it's kind of one of those slower moments and they're sitting around waiting for like that's a great moment to kind of because there are so many characters and I think sometimes it can be a little tough to figure out
Mhm.
kind of who's who. And I think you do need those moments where we're kind of just getting these moments of who these people are, right? I think the rain moment makes the moment where the brother dies a lot stronger because there's that, right? Because
That's true.
throughout the film, he's kind of arguing with his brother, and that's
They
kind of the
argue,
moment
yeah.
where he gets fed up with him, right? He's like, I'm tired of, right? You
You
always tell me
you're
what to do.
picking
You
on me,
always
yeah.
tell me, right? And so it makes because like the very next scene is the scene where they get caught and he dies, and so it makes that all the more powerful, right?
Hmm.
It's like the idea of, um, the last thing you say to your brother is like an argument, right? And then
Yeah.
they die, and then sad
Hmm.
and all of
He
that.
dies in
And
a fucked up way too, remember? Because like he runs into the kid,
oh
right?
shit, yeah,
Yeah, he gets him down and he's like gonna kill him and he's like, oh, you should just go because but it's a kid, he's just
because
like
he's a
go
kid
and the kid pulls out a knife and he
and
stabs him.
just stabs him,
Shit.
just murders him right there.
Yeah, just yeah, like it's Vietnam, I guess, freaking kids. But yeah. Um Yeah. No, it's you're right. Like the movie does like slow down occasionally, but it never
Mhm.
slows down too much. I never thought like there's too much dialogue, there's too much talking or anything like
Yeah,
that. I think the movie is appropriately paced with action scenes and also I guess like character development moments, you could say. Um, because like you said, there are quite a few characters and I think they do a good job at distinguishing them.
yeah, I definitely think so. And that final warehouse scene is just spectacular. I mean, first of all, it's just a
It's
really
great.
great location, and it's really well
Yeah.
developed. Of like, here's where everything is. We have to plant these bombs. Classic action movie final scene, right? We got to plant these bombs. Got to be out of here in a certain amount of time. And even before, right, which is great about that scene is even before the quote unquote bad guys come, right? They're in this position where like the revolutionaries, right, the two women that are left, don't
Yeah.
want to do it, or because they want to keep, right, they want to keep it and give it to
Yeah.
the
The
fellow
anti-communists
revolutionaries,
in Cambodia. Yeah.
and the American Chinese are like, no, like our mission is to destroy them, but like they're like, well, it's also not our mission because at this point they learn that like the mission's been
Right.
canceled. So like, what the fuck are we, like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we even here? And right, and they have that great fight sequence between them before then the bad guys come in, the
Hmm.
the
The
Viet
Viet
Cong, and
Cong.
you have the general. who's
Yeah,
just
the very
badass.
cartoonish, the very cartoonish, like Jenner, I
Yes.
like very cartoonish, like that was like very absurd. His like character, like it's like kind of like an absurdly evil character.
Hmm.
Um, that's fine. I mean, like I'm not
I'm
against
not
that.
complaining.
I think
Yeah.
no, I think it's really fun.
I
Yeah,
wish
and
there's
like
more of him because he's not introduced
that's
until
true. Yeah,
pretty
they
late in the
introduce him at like
film.
yeah, they introduce him at like the last moment basically of the movie. And then like but he does some great fighting. Like that guy's a great I thought he was great,
Yeah, I didn't
fighter.
expect that. I thought it was going to
Yeah,
be
like
sort of the situation where like he didn't know what he was doing, he's kind of running away. But then no, we
yeah.
learned that he is a master kung fu artist.
All these people, yeah, all the people in the movie are master kung fu artists, right?
Everyone.
Like they're all really good at like fighting and doing stunts. Like they're all very like which is why these movies are so fun. It's that like I don't know, they're all like they all know how to do everything. Like they know how to act, they know how to do stunts and fighting. They're very convincing at fighting. Yeah, that fight where he fights like the bootlegger at the end is really good.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, I think for me, the bootlegger is probably one of the most, he has some of the most impressive stunts because he's flipping around,
Yeah,
he's jumping, he's
he's doing a lot of
kicking.
flipping around. Yeah,
It's so
that's a good
cool every
character
single
too.
time.
I like that character feels really like distinct.
Yeah,
I
I
like that
think,
character. Like he kind of shows up like halfway through.
and he probably has the most growth of any, right?
That's true.
Because some of these characters, I think just because you only see them for a short amount of time, or they all die
Hmm.
in different ways. I think there's definitely uh, some of them have a lot more layers than others, right? Some of them have a lot
Hmm.
more development than others for whatever reasons, and I think the Bootleggers kind of
Hmm.
has the most growth in the film, right? I think in a lot of the ways, like he's sort of imperative to the film, because like
Yeah.
he's the one who kind of like figures everything's out, and I find myself rooting for him a lot of the time, right? Because
Yeah, me too.
right, because like even the first time we meet him, like what I love about that is he has like no interest in being part of it, and he's
Hmm.
kind of forced into it, and so right, like that great like first scene with him and his crazy uncle, the crazy uncle trying right, they're like hiding in the like in like an ox wagon, like under hay or some shit, and they're passing the
Yeah.
guards, right? And the
Right.
bootlegger like throws like fucking American cigarettes or something like that, and they're like, oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. And then of course the crazy uncle jumps out and like immediately,
Yeah, that scene is so fun.
which I
And
never,
they get
yeah.
I thought they were, yeah, you think like, oh, they did it, they got away. Now
Hmm.
let's move on to the next scene. No, that's
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I mean, I think what's so impressive about that warehouse scene, which I think is a really hard thing to do, is the warehouse is really big, right? It's like a really
yeah.
big space, and there's still quite a few like good guys, and then there's a shit ton of bad guys, and so I think it's really easy to sort of get muddled in that, right? And just like people just randomly shooting guns and not knowing where you are in space. And I think they do a really good job of cutting that together in a way that each, because it's really like the warehouse is a series of fight sequences, right? It's basically
Yep.
like individual fights between certain characters and kind of them trying to fight these individual people, right? Even if they're fighting multiple people and they're kind of fighting goons, as it were, right? They're not necessarily fighting the general himself. And so I think to me that's what's so impressive about this thing. 'Cause I think that's a very hard thing to do. I think it'd be very easy kind of get lost in the weeds, and you just have people randomly hitting people and shooting people, but every
Yeah.
moment feels distinct and unique. And then that's what I think something kind of we've harped on a lot in this film is every single fight sequence feels different from the last. And I think that's a very hard thing to do because there's only so many ways you can fight a person, right? There's only so many ways you can punch a
Yeah.
person. And so not only to do it in each large action sequence to be interesting and unique, and using the landscape, which I think is another thing that they do very well, is right. They're in a lot of different landscapes throughout the film. Like they're
Hmm.
clearly utilizing kind of the sets and the places that they're going to, right? The locations that they are. They use the woods, right? They use the rain. They're using uh, you know wet water. They're using kind of the cold. Uh, atmosphere and like warehouse spaces. Like they're all using these different spaces uniquely and utilizing the
Hmm.
spaces and like the things that they have around them in these spaces.
Hmm. Yeah, they shot the movie in the Philippines.
That makes sense.
They do that, and they did that for Apocalypse Now. Like in Apocalypse Now,
Right.
like the country of Vietnam was like, "You're not fucking filming the movie here," so they filmed it
That's
in the
fair.
Philippines. Yeah, yeah, that is fair. That is fair. And I mean, yeah, it looks fine. It looks good.
Yeah. I mean, it looks hot. It looks muggy. It
It
looks
looks
wet.
hot.
So
Yeah, it looks disgusting. Like it
like
just looks
everyone's just
like
sweaty all of the
sweltering.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they got that. I think they captured that. Or that moment where the it's at the very end. I can't remember why. Oh, it's the explosion, right? When they're running through the tunnel. Is there for some reason I imagine was there water behind them for something? Was it water rushing? Like was there some sort of water behind them, or am I just imagining that because I've seen so many movies
What
where like
scene?
at the very end, right? The warehouse
Oh yeah,
explodes. Is
because
that
because they go underground, right?
yeah?
They go
But
through
there's
the tunnel and
water,
then they
right?
fall. Yeah, they fall out of the waterfall.
Okay, yeah.
No, you got it. Yeah,
I didn't know if
yeah.
I was like just imagining that because I'd
No, I
seen
think you're
because
right.
there's so
Yeah.
many movies, right, where they're right that it's about to explode, they're running away and they're in a fucking cave or whatever, and there's like a big gush of water and they fall down. I
Hmm.
just had to make sure that was a thing that actually happened. It wasn't just something
That
that I
that is
remember
in a
so
lot of
many
movies.
others.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. You weren't making that up. Yeah. No. Um. I'm trying to think what other scenes I really like in the movie. I like them all.
Yeah,
Like I don't think there's any like weak scenes in the movie just because they're just like again, it's appropriately violent in my opinion. It's very violent. It's like the Vietnam War never ended or whatever. It's probably a little over the top in that respect, but I like it. Um, yeah. Uh, have you ever seen The Deer Hunter?
no, but
There's like that
I'm
movie has
aware.
a famous like Russian roulette scene in it,
Okay,
which I think The Deer Hunter predates it, if I'm not mistaken. It does. The Deer Hunter is a '78 film. There's a famous Russian roulette scene in it. So I wonder if like the Russian roulette scene in this movie is ripping it off
inspired.
a little bit,
Yeah.
inspired. Yeah, but I think it's
But
like them actually like you know
oh,
doing
it's
it to
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're yeah, like in this movie, it's like the children doing.
Just a children fucking. Honestly, like whenever I think of Russian roulette now, the only scene I think of, or the first thing that I always think of, which I think is the most intense Russian roulette scene that I've ever seen, is that a scene in Malcolm X. Remember where uh, it's early on, so it's before he goes to prison, and he's with like he's run away from like his original. He's not like doing numbers anymore. And I think they're like it's before they're gonna rob a place, like they're gonna rob a house or something. And they're in that small room, right? It's the two women,
Oh,
right?
they're partying. They're getting drunk
Mhm.
and stuff. Yes, I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
and
Yeah,
and
and he does, and yeah, like Malcolm, he does that, and they're all
mhm.
like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
But
That's a
he
great
we
scene.
learn
Yeah,
later that he palmed the
right.
bullets, right?
He
He was
That's
never
right. I
actually.
forgot.
But
Yeah,
absolutely great moment, and that's always what I think of. But of course, this is a very very
this
different
one's pretty. This one's pretty
vibe.
memorable as well. I would say. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's weird because it's that moment is like it's funny because it's
yeah.
children,
There's the
right,
children
getting like
doing
bet
it.
on.
Yeah.
But then like there's also something like weird and twisted and like really dark
No,
about it too.
it's
So
very
like
dark. Yeah,
because the
they're like
kids
doing
like
it for
clearly
fun
don't
and
give a
money.
shit.
Yeah, they're doing it for like fun and money.
Yeah, like they could care less about murdering these prisoners. Oh man. All right. Well, that does put us at just about an hour. Do
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
you want to wrap it up? All right. Do
Mhm.
you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll just say that like, this is just like a great movie. It's jam-packed, great Hong Kong action movie. It's got everything. It's got fighting, it's got drama, it's got action, it's got shooting and explosions. Um, and again, it's just a movie that is like totally fully like tactile, right? Like there's nothing phony about it, right? It's all actual stunts. It's all actual like special effects. There's nothing like there's really like nothing phoned in about the movie. Like it's
Yeah.
totally just in camera on it. And it's hard to compete. Like it's hard to compete with like that's just totally hard to compete with any other movie you might see today,
Hmm.
action movie. And I love John Wick, but even John Wick kind of like falls short in comparison to this. You know what I mean? Like I like John Wick, like obviously most people do. I do, of course. That has amazing action, but even that can occasionally feel a little phony, even compared, especially compared to like a movie like Eastern Condors, because it's just so like you know, that's just how good it is, right?
Yeah.
Just how good, how impressive everything about it is. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, but like a very high eight.
Yeah, I think you hit all of the big points there, which and I think the most important thing here is just as you're saying, so it's such a tactile film, right? You really feel those moments where they're fighting. Like it feels real, it feels genuine, and it feels creative and interesting. And every time they have a fight sequence, it's unique to that moment, right? It's very clear that they're not just recycling the same moves over and over and over again, which I think a problem that a lot of action movie have is, right? We got one move or we got three moves, or we just give a guy a gun and then we have him walk forward and then he just kills everybody and
Hmm.
no one ever shoots him and he's invincible.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, Sam Hung is a little invincible in this film, but he is also so badass in the film that you don't care, right? Because it's not like he's invincible and he's not doing shit, right? It's not like he's just like walking around and like he just can't get shot or can't get hurt. Like he's
Yeah.
also doing badass shit. So it's okay that he's a
Hmm.
little invincible. Like it's okay that he isn't getting hurt because he is so good at what he does. And yeah, I think I'm in similar agreement. It's a strong 8 out of 10, but just very impressive. And I think it's hard for action movies, particularly modern action movies, even John Wick, which I love my John Wick movies.
Right.
It's hard for them to live up to this because, I mean, this is where it is, right? This is like this the epitome of
Everyone,
action movies, right?
yeah, everyone loves these movies, and like they're always trying to rip them off. Like like everyone loves these movies. Like
Yeah,
they're not like, like once you like get into the movies, once you get into these movies, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, like
I get it.
like this is the yeah, like this is the real shit. Like this is like the pure heroin. Like it's like totally, just it's got it all. And it's funny. Like the movie is like
Hmm.
legitimately funny. It's just like a great entertaining movie. That's all that it is, really.
Yeah, and I think we've watched a lot of movies on the podcast that I understand why people might not like them, whether we like
Hmm.
them or not, right? We've watched a lot of movies that I understand why someone would be like, I don't like this movie because of this thing or this theme or this idea.
Yeah.
But honestly, I can't see a reason. I think this is like, I don't think there's movies that everyone likes, but I think it'd be pretty hard for anyone not to like this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I can't see an argument for not liking this movie. Like, I genuinely
Maybe if you're
can't.
squeamish to like violence or something like
Maybe, but it's not like
that.
extremely violent. I mean, there are some like bloody
Yeah.
scenes,
And people
but
getting shot in the head.
there's okay. I guess there is that, but we've definitely watched much more violent films
We
in
have.
the
You're right. Yeah.
past. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm just a
More. Yeah.
little, but
I think you're right. No, no, no. I'm in total agreement with you. You like, yeah, like it's not. You're right. It's violent, but it's not that bad.
no. It's just
Compared
so
to
much
other
fun,
movies.
man. I mean, it's just a
Yeah, it's
really
really
fun
fun.
movie. Like it's a movie that just makes you feel good. Like at any time, you can watch this movie anytime, and you'll just
Yeah.
feel better. Like you just feel happy.
Yeah, it's a movie you kind of like throw on to in the background, right? And even if you're not
Hmm.
paying attention to it, you could like look over and you're just like, yep, there's a badass action
It's
scene going on.
badass.
Yep, a badass action scene going on. So yeah. I need to watch more Sammo Hung movies.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'll get on it soon. Hopefully, maybe we'll see.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. You can find this podcast wherever you hear podcasts. You also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I have nothing to say. And thank you all for listening.
Thanks again.